Welcome in. This is your Jock Market Power Hour for this week's Tour Championship. I'm Rick Gaiman, that right there. Joe Idoni. Joe, last event of the super season. Welcome.
What up, buddy? 50 events, 6 majors. Time to put a bow on it, right? The top 30 players in the world. This is the happy birthday, the 1-year anniversary of Jock Market. So this was our very first market. We have come full circle. We are back here tonight in what should be an exciting next 40 minutes of Power Hour.
Yeah, there is a lot to go through. There's the format that we have to talk about. There is shorting, which is brand new. We need to talk about that. The fact that there's 30 players in this field. We've got a new payout structure. We've got to talk about that. But here's how it's basically going to go. For the next hour or so, we're going to be taking you through the most important time of the Jock Market for the PGA contests. This is IPO. That means you can currently bid on shares of golfers, and if you are allocated those shares at right before 9 p.m. Eastern time, you will take those shares into the live trading portion of this event. If you want to win free money, go ahead and drop your Jock Market username in the chat right now. I'll give away $100 as the evening goes on. And of course, if you haven't deposited, use the code POWER. It is the best possible deposit bonus out there. It is not only, Joe, I'm blinded by golf, but apparently there's a pretty big sport coming back and starting up here shortly that I imagine Jock Market is going to be absolutely bonkers for.
Yes, football is full bore. I would dabbled in a little bit last year. Now that I've really got my feet wet with the full golf season, I'm excited to return to NFL season, starting right in next week, right? We're a couple days away.
Days away, I guess. Yeah, I think Thursday the 9th, I believe, is when that begins. But, that's looking ahead. You mentioned it. It's been a year. It's been a year. The first cash market ever was the Tour Championship last year. I can't believe it. I was surprised when I saw that kind of come across my desk here this morning. But yeah, it's simultaneously so much has changed, and also it feels like it's been around forever.
Yeah, it does. It feels like it's gone super fast. But at the same token, there's so many more people playing now. There's so many more enhancements to the product, which we'll touch on later, that the guys over at Jock Market and the team have made over the past year. And yeah, thank you to them for creating this thing and making it what it is. And we all totally enjoy it. And this has been a fun year to sort of build up this community with all of you guys here within the Power Hour. So it's been great.
Let's talk about the differences for this week in the Tour Championship before we go on and start looking at some of these players, because this is absolutely critical. We have 30 players left, and the PGA Tour, Joe, they use starting strokes. So on Thursday morning, when the first tee shot is hit, Patrick Cantlay is going to be 10 under par. Tony Finau is going to be 8 under par, and everybody else is going to be further than that, trying to chase those two down. Not so much here in the Jock Market. We do not use the starting strokes. Okay. So that means everybody is starting at even. Before I mention the caveat to that, would that make you want to roster or build a portfolio of guys that are chasing, Joe, just because they have an incentive to try to catch Patrick Cantlay in the FedEx Cup, and by them trying to do that are helping their non-starting strokes side of it?
So in a way, yes, I think that it provides a sense of normalcy to the game that we're familiar with and we're used to, which I particularly like. I don't love the starting strokes. That's a whole nother show. But when you get into sort of those betting markets and types of things, it creates a different wrinkle, and you have to factor in, it's basically like live betting after round one. So you have to factor in the odds different. I know that other fantasy formats totally factor in finishing position based on the starting strokes. So this is sort of, with the caveat that you'll mention here shortly, what we're used to, right? Everyone starts off at 0 points. Whoever plays the best is going to score the best, with the one exception to the guy who ends up hoisting the FedEx Cup trophy.
The only caveat to that, yes, the 5 extra points. So the way that I understand it, the way the system is set up for Jock Market is they don't use the starting strokes, but a win is, of course, those 5 bonus points. And the way a win is determined is based on the PGA Tour's definition of a win, which is winning the FedEx Cup. So that golfer who does hoist the FedEx Cup on Sunday will get 5 bonus points. That's actually what happened in last year's Jock Market, Joe, because Xander Schauffele, we know, won the no starting strokes version, but the 5 bonus points from Dustin Johnson were enough to push him up top, and he got the full payout.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly like you said. DJ ended up getting that top payout because he ended up hoisting the trophy at the end. Xander finished second, and everything from then on out was based on according to non-starting strokes. Whoever played the best, whoever had the best raw scoring for the week, scored the most points, with that one exception of DJ. You're correct.
Yeah, so if there's any questions about that, obviously put them in the chat. We'll do our best to go through as much as possible. I see a couple questions I'll get to here in a second, so don't be afraid to use the chat there. And Joe, what I actually thought was a pretty cool idea before we get into another really fun thing that we've got brewing for this week and the future weeks is you said to me, let's look at the guys in the Tour Championship and see how they've done in the Jock Market over the last year. And I believe I have all of them selected here. Cam Smith has been the most valuable golfer in the Jock Market. I'll try to make this a little bit bigger here. In 20 cash markets, Cam Smith has returned on average 52% ROI. Kevin Na is next, and Sam Burns is third. Is that surprising information to you, Joe?
Yeah, it does. You know what? But it is like exactly right here illustrates what makes Jock Market so cool. Is it's all about outperforming expectations. Did Cam Smith pile together 2 wins this season? No, I don't think he had one. Did he? Outside of the team event, which wasn't part of this anyways. But
he did not have a cash market win.
Right. But you can see he's consistently outperforming his expectation level. The top 5s are there. The top 10s are there. Louis on that list. He doesn't have a win. Kevin Na's on that list. I don't believe he has a win within the past year. Corey Connors is on that list. He doesn't have a win. So these are guys that are consistently outperforming that, roughly top 20 expectation level. It varies per week, but they're stacking together consistent finishes, and they're scoring well, and they're able to return you a great chunk of change in an app like Jock Market.
By my count, 6 of these golfers were negative on average for the year. The worst, Billy Horschel. Now, there was not a cash market for the match play, so he kind of loses value there because the time he played the best, you didn't get access to him. Patrick Reed's down here as well. Patrick Reed hasn't been all that good outside of the Farmers Insurance Open. Bryson DeChambeau, we know, used to be super expensive, a little bit disappointing. And then Dustin Johnson also here. So, I mean, these are bigger names that did not live up to probably their own expectations this year. And you're seeing that in the average ROIs.
Yeah, but pretty cool there also to see, like you mentioned, the 6 guys that are down there who lost you a little bit of money there. How about 24 guys who made you money in the top 30 this year? So really cool to kind of see that data that you've put together on your site for free for everyone. And it just, basically, what is that? 80% of the field is returning you a positive net value on the season, which is awesome to see. It's great to see that, that's not being destroyed by rake or by juice or any of these other things. That's straight cash going right back into your portfolio, into your account for the following week, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's actually a really great point with the juice or rake or anything like that. Now, the big thing, this to me is the biggest news probably in the last year. Shorting is now available. You guys have been clamoring for it in the chat for months. We've been banging on the door of the guys over at Jock Market, and it's now live and available. And the first question that after I tweeted that out was, what is shorting? How does this work? Because it can certainly be confusing. And there's a great page on Jock Market's website that I think does the perfect job of explaining this, Joe. And I love the first line. It's like buying shares, but the opposite, which is like,
They really sort of simplify things here, like you said, and they give a great example if you wanted to go through that below with Jordan Spieth and kind of walking you through exactly how it works.
Yeah. So normally you buy shares of golfers that you think are going to do well. The opportunity to short is essentially find golfers that you think are not going to do well. So if you believe that a share price is going to go down, you offer to sell shares that you don't currently own. You don't have to own these shares, which is amazing, by placing a short sell order at your price. So then someone can say, okay, you know what? I'll take that. I will place a matching buy order to your sell order. And now you're on. Now the trade has been executed. If the price goes down, you profit. If it goes up, you do not. So you can offer to buy those shares during live or hold until the final payout. And your hold is the short's maximum exposure, which is the top payout, $25 minus the price of the share. So here's the example, Joe. Jordan Spieth is currently in a tie for fifth at this week's PGA event. You think he is overachieving and his price will come down from $14. You seeing the current bid price of $14, place a short order for 3 shares at $14. So your cost, pay attention, people, 3 shares times the $25 max minus the $14 price, $33. So 25 minus 14 is 11. $33 is what your cost is at the end of the tournament. If you are correct and Spieth falls to a $6 payout, your profit is the difference, the $8 of difference per share, $24. Any questions? It's confusing at first. When you start executing these, it is it'll start to make more sense as you roll through this.
Exactly. Just like when we started this thing, how it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to, but I think play around with it, enjoy it. I see some people in the chat saying that they can't do this right now. It is currently only available once the live event starts. Yes. At this point in time. And the other thing is you have to enable this. So when you pull up your Jock Market app, there is a little, top left corner. It's like a little person that will bring up your account. You go there, then you will click the setting that says user account, and you will basically see one of those little toggle buttons that enable shorting. So you have to enable it in order to first see it during the live event once it happens. And I mean, this is a game changer. I'll read you some notes that actually Dave sent me over today, which I thought was really cool. I'm just going to kind of read it here word for word, but it's going to be a game changer at the top of the leaderboard, typically predominantly late in the tournaments, because it's going to apply a downward pressure on the top guys. If your golfer is doing well, why are you going to sell him for something that's unreasonable if he's projected to finish first, second, or third, like last week when we sort of had Cantlay and Bryson and then everyone else? Now anyone can sell those shares, so you don't have to currently own shares of Bryson or Cantlay.
That's the big thing. That's the big thing, Joe, because we see, listen, there is clearly an advantage to getting shares of golfers during IPO. Everyone knows that. And then what I think it was doing was kind of handcuffing people during the event of like, well, I'm not going to buy now or whatever. But we see this every single week on the PGA Tour. You see someone who is headed down the leaderboard, and now even if you don't have shares of that golfer, you can short them. You can sell. This really is like a huge difference in the game.
Yes, I think it's going to increase liquidity. I think it's going to create a lot more volume, a lot more activity while the event goes on, because like you said, it gives you all those more opportunities to not just pay attention to the bid price on the 5, 6, 7 guys that are within your holdings, but now you got the opportunity to pay attention to the bid price on every player in the field. And if you see an opportunity there, you're not limited to the guys that you currently own shares of. If you feel like a player has had a great week putting and is maybe potentially going to trend the opposite direction come Sunday, gives you those opportunities as well.
It's fascinating stuff. I can't wait to see how people use it in action. I think it's going to make the game accessible to everybody. I think it's going to kind of allow you to play both sides of it. You mentioned the liquidity, so it should be good. Let me give away some money. The first $20 in Jock Bucks is going out to, this person might be excited for the football season. Fitzmagic. Congratulations, Fitzmagic. We'll get you set up. Usually takes a couple days to get that money in your account. If you want to be like Fitzmagic, Don't throw the interceptions. Just throw your username into the chat right now, and that'll get you entered into a draw to win that money. Okay. Let's start making our way towards this week's tour championship, Joe. There's 30 players in the field. The payout structure has changed. Everybody from 29th and up is making over $1. Keep that in mind as we go through this evening. And I would like to enter into our market movers segment. This is where you and I pick out 3 golfers each. In this case, that's 10% of the field each, to really put our hat in the ring on to say this golfer is going to have a good week. Although I guess we could start doing this guy's going to have a bad week. You should short him once live trading, because we might have to change this. But right now we do blue chips, mid caps, and penny stocks. Where do you want to start, Joe?
I'll start at the top.
All right.
I like Bryson this week. I think that he had a great week last week. He's dealing with all this sort of additional controversy and drama, some of which he brought on by himself, some of which is just idiot fans out there. But in the midst of it, he's playing well, right? Had himself right in contention in the St. Jude. I think he's going to find himself in contention at East Lake. This is a long golf course. This is a difficult golf course. I feel those type of events normally set up better for him than a birdie fest, even though he did play so well last week. Top pick for me, top of the board, blue chipper of the week, Bryson DeChambeau.
I love it. Real quick before I forget, 89 says, this shorting thing is going to make me sign up for Jock Market right now. What are you doing? You haven't signed up for Jock Market? Okay. It's fine. You can wait. Use the code POWER. Get yourself in there. My blue chip, I'm going with Tony Finau. This is, to me, he's the forgotten guy, Joe. He's just been forgotten at the top. We want to talk about Cantlay and Bryson and Rahm, who's, Rahm's 4 shots back. We're not using that, but Finau has been, ever since he changed the putting grip and the putter at the Open Championship, much better. And if that's the thing that unlocks Finau, I'm stoked about it. So I'm going with Tony Finau as my blue chip option. Joe is going with Bryson. Let's move down a notch to our mid caps. Where are you going here in the middle of the board?
Yeah, so here's a guy that I like this week, and I liked him even more when you showed the graphic earlier, but I'm going to go Cam Smith. He's starting 5 off the lead. He's starting 3 off the second place lead. So I think that he can firmly get himself into contention. He's been so consistent. He's been so solid. I love his around the green game. He's putting as well as anybody on tour right now. Just set the record, obviously, for least amount of putts in a round. You can see that he's averaging over 50% returns, the only guy in the jock market to be doing so. Cam Smith, mid-cap, I think it's safe. I think that he ends up right around sort of that mid-level, right underneath the top tier this week.
I am glad you brought that up. You mentioned that he's like close to the top, which obviously doesn't matter, but at the same time it does, because these guys who have something to play for, they all have a lot of money to play for, but you wonder about incentives of guys who are further down the board. Cam Smith, to me, is right in the middle, right? He is right in that sweet spot of guys that I think would want to be incentivized to try to make it to the top. Obviously.
Agree.
Okay. I'm also going to go with somebody who's going to kind of start there. And this is kind of weird because I don't know what his price is going to be, but it's Justin Thomas. Maybe he's a blue chipper. I don't know. The market's got to figure itself out with the no starting strokes thing. But JT, listen, I worry about the putter. That's the one thing I'm worried about with him, but that's the one thing I'm always worried about. So to me, he's playing to his DNA. He's very on brand right now. I've got no concerns because the one concern is always the concern. So it's like, this is normal. I want to see what JT's up to, and I want to see what the market does with him this evening. Now, when we start looking further down the board to our penny stocks, these are probably the bottom end golfers, the guys that barely got into the field, that have a lot of movement to make. Where are you headed, Joe?
Yeah, so it's funny. The penny stocks this week are like normally guys that we'd see kind of at the top. But I'm going to go Corey Connors. Fairways, greens, simple. The guy is a ball striking wizard. I think this is the type of course that sets up well for his game. If he can just have a decent week putting, I think that he has all the other attributes to succeed. I think that his price point is going to be sort of in that bottom third tier here, which is what we normally look for. Penny stock, Corey Connors.
Okay, I'm going to go with EVR, Eric Van Rooyen. He is a confident golfer. Confident golfers are dangerous golfers. He basically played himself in to the playoffs with a win a couple of weeks ago, and then he's just been on this run of really good golf, and he's doing it in a way that I think really lends itself to success, and he is absolutely playing with house money at the Tour Championship. I can't wait to see how it shakes out. All right, Joe, I think it's about that time. I'm going to reveal the big board and we can talk about the pricing for this evening and we can start going through all of these golfers. But by my clock, it is 8:36 p.m. on the East Coast, which means we have about 20 to 25 minutes left of this IPO phase, which means get your bids in now. Those shares will be allocated in the next 25 minutes or so, and then we will enter the live trading portion of this. You want to take a stab, Joe, at who might be the most expensive golfer in the jock market right now?
Yeah, it's going to be our boy John Rahm. I think it always is. Patrick Cantlay will be there close behind, but Rahm's sort of been the staple blue chipper that we always see on top of the board here in jock market. I think that his price is going to clear a price that we've ever seen on him before, just because when you do factor in those starting strokes being a few off the lead, I think that he probably clears like $13 tonight, easy.
Wow. Okay. Currently $9.01 in the jock market. He is certainly the most expensive golfer here. He's about $2.50 clear of Rory McIlroy at the moment. He has not sold for less than $10 in any of his last four markets. He is right in that sweet spot. And Joe, if he goes to your prediction, $13 a share, that is going to be, let's see, fourth or better. Am I reading that right? Did we updated this right in the retool? I think we did. Fourth or better. Did I lose you, Joe? Maybe I lost Joe. Anyway, Rory McIlroy, $6.50. We're going to see if we can get Joe back here. Rory McIlroy is $6.50. He is $2.50 behind John Rahm. Now, this is kind of an interesting situation with Rory because not only does he get the huge benefit of the no starting strokes and being absolutely phenomenal at Eastlake in his career, the offset of that is he is currently ranked 15th in the pre-ranks, which is a little bit concerning. Obviously, that means he is not going to break ties with 14 other golfers. So anybody who is ranked higher than him is going to break a tie and get the full share price over Rory McIlroy. He's currently $6.50, right behind Justin Thomas. So maybe my mid cap is going to be more expensive than my blue chipper is this evening because Justin Thomas is currently $6.25. If you're a buyer of Justin Thomas at $6.25, you are asking him to finish about 12th or better. I'm going to give this a little bit of a refresh, but I do want to go back and look at some of the questions that we had in the chat here. So Big Randy said, hey, Rick, do you mind telling me what Bryson's putting on Bermuda is? He's okay. It's 0.13 per round. It's basically his same as his bent grass rates. It's much better than his POA. It's pretty good. It's on that side of it. So certainly no concerns there. As I give this board a refresh, make sure that you are putting in your Jock Market username into the chat. That is going to enter you into a draw to win $20 in the Jock Market. We're giving it away, $100. I've got $80 more to give away. And no surprise that John Rahm continues to be the most expensive golfer on the slate. Let me try to put some of this into perspective for you. DJ, coming off of a really good week last week at the BMW Championship, quietly working his way up the board. He has now returned you a profit in 2 of the last 3 cash markets, in 3 of the last 5 cash markets, really trying to dig himself out of a poor start to the 2021 calendar year. $6.36. What does that mean at this phase? Well, it means at $6.36, you're asking him to finish 12th or better. 12th or better. That's what you're asking out of Dustin Johnson at the moment in a field of 30 with no starting strokes. Again, remember, there are no starting strokes for this event. If you have questions, concerns, comments, if you want me to dive into any specific golfers, let's open it up to the chat. Joe's not here. I'm happy to chat through this with anybody out there. There's going to be an interesting situation on Xander Schauffele tonight. There's a chance that Xander Schauffele becomes the most expensive golfer on the slate, in my opinion. He has been absolutely dominant at Eastlake. He has played 16 rounds at this course, and he has not lost strokes to the field in any of them. 16 for 16 on gaining strokes to the field. I see Joe's back behind stage, but I don't see his camera yet. So I'm going to give him a second here. I don't want to bring him on without a camera. So we're going to see if we can get Joe. A couple of movers here. Again, remember, this is the no stroke version of this event. So guys like Sungjae Im, guys like Daniel Berger are going to be more valuable. Sungjae Im has been showing us how he's been trending, right? The ball striking's back. The putter, significantly better recently, playing in his adopted hometown of Atlanta. This is a really good spot for Sungjae Im. He's currently $6.05 in the cash jock market for this evening. And then Daniel Berger, I love this. I've bet Daniel Berger to win this event without the starting strokes. Do I think he's going to do it? Maybe. 25, 28 to 1, depending on where you're looking. Daniel Berger has not lost strokes on approach since right here. Waste Management, all the way back here. Look at all of these events that he has played since he has last lost strokes on approach. He has everything to play for. He's going to start at even par. There's only one direction for him to go. He knows it is foot on the pedal throughout the entirety of this event, and also his last chance to impress Captain Stricker. Let me give away a little bit more money here as I refresh the board. By my clock, it is 8:42, which means we have about 15, 18 minutes until this IPO phase closes. So let me give away a little bit more money. This one is going to Bucks. Bucks 93. Congratulations. We'll get you all set up with $20 into the jock market in the next day or two. Congratulations. I've got 3 more of those $20 to give away this evening. So hang around. Make sure that your jock market username is in the chat. If you have not deposited yet, if the shorting feature got you all fired up like we saw in the chat, go ahead and use the code POWER. That'll get you the best possible deposit bonus up to $50. Let's go back to the big board here. I'm going to give this a refresh, and we're going to go back to the big board, and we're going to see how this is panning out. It's a little bit different with only 30 golfers in the field. Everybody over 29th is going to get paid, or better than 29th is going to get paid at least $1. Here is the current updated big board, and no surprise here, Jon Rahm, $10. What do we think Jon Rahm is going to finish at this evening, chat? Where are we going with this? Let me know. What is Jon Rahm's price this evening? Closest without going over, I don't know. I'll do something. I'll give you a week subscription to RickRunGood.com. Closest without going over to Jon Rahm's final price this evening. Price is Right style. Let's go. Jon Rahm's final price. Last couple weeks, he's been $10.69, $10.16, $10.31, $11. He's currently $10. He is creating a much larger gap between him and the rest of the field. Cam Smith, who we mentioned, is, now the chat comes alive. You offer him a little something, the chat comes alive. I love it. Cam Smith, we just showed you, the most valuable player in the jock market in the last year. It's a year. You got to love it. He is $6.50. Let's scroll all the way down. Let's get freaky. Joe's leaving me alone. I might get a little bit crazy tonight. Let's go to the bottom of the board. Stuart Sink, $1.31. What are you asking Jon Rahm to do, or excuse me, Stuart Sink to do for $1.31? Not all that much, right? Not all that much. He would have to finish. Wow. So let's see. He would have to finish 27th or better in a field of 30. 26th is going to pay $1.50. 25th is going to play $1.75. You can see the new payout structure here on my screen. Sheerdog says, I'm already a Rick Run Good member. If that's the case, I'll just send you $7. I'll make it worth it. Don't worry about it. I'll make it up to you. The bottom of the board continues to be guys that we would expect it to be. It's Stuart Sink. What about Patrick Reed? You know, this is a guy who, I'll admit, has not played well, right? Hasn't played well since the Memorial, has really struggled. Just got out of the hospital a couple of days ago. But Captain America is $2.05. $2.05. He basically needs to finish 24th or better, again, without those starting strokes. I don't know what happened to Joe. He's trying to. I can see him trying to come in and go. Oh, we might have him. Hold on. We might have Joe returning to glory. Joe, sir.
Yes, I could hear you. So I had to switch gears to my phone. I don't know what's going on, but it appears to be a power outage here in the neighborhood during power hour, the worst possible time. I don't know what to say. Live
Power
TV.
power hour during power outage. Is everything? Do you seriously? Do you? You don't have to be on this if you need to go.
No, absolutely. I'm here, man. I got the data pulled up. Unfortunately, probably not going to be able to participate tonight, but I'm happy to walk through the closing, like 10 minutes that we have left here. I got stuff pulled up on my computer screen.
All right. Well, if that changes and you need to run, no worries. We can take it from here. But we've got about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so until this IPO phase closes, Joe. As you can imagine, John Rahm is making a big move. There's a couple of names lurking. Xander Schauffele's lurking around $6. Brooks Koepka lurking less than $6. This is a situation of motivation for Brooks. You're kind of the Brooks whisperer here. Is he too far back to care? Is he trying to rack up the money? What version of Brooks are we going to get this evening?
I hope we get the best version. I'm confident that he's going to show up and play pretty well. I know that they had, he's gearing up for the Ryder Cup and his big Barstool match next week, I believe, with a lot of money on the line. But I think we will get a good version. I think this is a good course setup. The thing with Brooks, Rick, is he's been great off the tee. He's driving the ball fantastically. His iron play, particularly his long iron play, has been pretty solid as well, which should set him up nicely for Eastlake. He's just been bleeding strokes with the putter and around the green. He's the type of guy, when I see that kind of stuff and see him taking a big hit around the green, he's so good that that's usually when I like to jump on Brooks.
Yeah, so I just gave this a refresh. I'm seeing Brooks at $5.84. For him to appease his owners at $5.84, or his shareholders, I guess is a better way to describe it, he basically needs to finish 13th or better in a field of 30 with no starting strokes. I mean, it's not necessarily one of the biggest asks in the world for Brooks Koepka. $5.50 for Patrick Cantlay. Is this a situation where it's tough to buy Cantlay, Joe, because he's playing a different game than we're playing? He's protecting the strokes. He's looking at the strokes. We don't care about them here.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked at how low his price is right now, to be honest with you. He does get those 5 additional points, which is going to be a huge bonus for him. 14th projected rank, which is going to kind of hurt him a little bit come tie. But yeah, I would expect him to make a huge surge late.
Yeah, as of this moment, $5.50 for Patrick Cantlay might be the best price out there. Scrolling a little bit further down the board, you mentioned Corey Connors earlier. Joaquin Niemann has caught my attention this week. He is someone that I has not played as well as I would have liked to have seen, but no starting strokes. He's got a position where there's only one direction that he's trying to go in. We know he has the firepower. Are you at all considering Joaquin Niemann as a viable option for this week?
I hadn't really been looking at him a whole lot. I like a little bit of Sergio right below him, and my guy Corey Connors, if I'm up to date here, is also right under him, who I like a little bit better. I'm certain that there's some valid points to be made on Joaquin Niemann in a spot like this, but I think there's enough talent right above and below him that I would probably shift my dollars toward.
As we get into the final 10 minutes or so, or probably shorter than that, this IPO window can close really starting around 8:57 p.m. Eastern time, and then there's a 90-second window in which it can close at any point. We've seen a couple of early closes recently with only 30 golfers in the field, Joe. If you were building that portfolio out tonight, how would it change compared to your kind of normal strategy and how you would normally build a portfolio?
Yeah, I tell you what, with these prices that I'm seeing right now, I'd be trying to snatch up quite a few guys, especially in that $5 range, which we typically see is great. Finau's there, Louis there, Vic Hovland is right there, who I believe starts at -3. Sam Burns has been playing fantastic, and I apologize if you touched on these people while I was trying to reconnect here. But there's so much talent and guys with so much to play for right, I believe right now in this $5 to $6 range. And the payouts are obviously shifted. There's only one guy that's going to pay out $1. Everyone else is going above that. So I just feel like there's a ton of upside with a lot of different players.
Yeah, I mean, I'm showing it on the screen right now. Basically, everyone is between $4 and $6. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the range. And again, just to put this into perspective, a $6 payout is 13th or better. So can these big names finish in the top half of the field? I can't imagine that's much of a significant ask for some of these players. How about Louis? Louis is a golfer, Joe, who, when I was showing the data here, one of the best, most consistent golfers over the course of the last year. He had 2 WDs before the event started. I think it was Wyndham and Northern Trust, if I remember correctly. Came back, played the BMW, didn't play particularly well.
Mm-hmm.
What version of Louis are we expecting this week at East Lake?
Yeah, I think the upside is there. He doesn't need to win, and we've illustrated that many times. He's been one of the most profitable players on the board consistently. And right now, here in that low $5 mark, he seems to be perpetually undervalued, even though he's performing at a statistically ridiculously high ROI. So yeah, I think that he bounces back nicely. Obviously had the neck flare up thing at the Northern Trust, which I think scared some people off at the BMW. But this East Lake is you typically plays as one of the tougher courses on tour. It's a little bit skewed because of the starting strokes. But typically there's only a few guys who finish 10 or under or greater. Those are the type of events where he plays well. Major championships, tough golf courses. I really like his game because he's so consistent at hitting fairways and greens. And if he can just make putts, I think he'll be right there.
We are 5 minutes away from this really, no, we're in it right now. It's spicy right now. The IPO phase will be open for about another 5, 6, maybe 7 minutes, depending on the timing. So make sure you get your bids in right now. And let me give some money away. At Jack Litch, Sean, congratulations. We will get you all set up with that money in your account. I've got $40 more to give away this evening. The way to enter, go ahead, drop your Jock Market username in the chat right now. I've got 2 more that we will rock and roll over the course of the evening. And Joe, John Rahm has been over $10, but he's stalled out just a little bit, $10.02. I imagine we're going to see that continue to move up the board. Cantlay did get a little bit of a bump. Xander Schauffele making up some ground as well. But maybe one of these names is not like the other. Sam Burns, who, don't get me wrong, I love, but currently the same price as Xander Schauffele, more expensive than Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Tony Finau, Daniel Berger, Bryson DeChambeau. Should I go on? I mean, the Burns love seemingly very strong early here.
Yeah, I think he's obviously been playing fantastic. He should set up great here. I think the confidence is at an all-time high. And he's got some outside Ryder Cup motivation, I think, could possibly be in play for Sam Burns this week. I do think he's a little bit overinflated. I like Cam Smith. I like Bryson. I like Tony Finau a little bit better just because I feel like they have better potential and upside to take this trophy down, which is going to get them those 5 additional points. They're closer to that lead. But one guy, like I'm Xander at 688, if I was in this thing, I'd be all over that. The last 2 years, he's 25 under par at East Lake. No one else is really in that same realm in terms of the raw scoring. So he's been the best player here. I think that he's going to play well again. I think that his game sets up perfectly. And at basically under $7, he's got to finish in let's see, what does that make that? The top 11 this week in a 30-man field, I think I really like his chances there.
Oh boy, Xander at East Lake. If Rory is the king, he is the prince of East Lake. And we are just a few minutes away from this IPO phase closing. By my clock, it is 8:54 p.m. on the East Coast, 5:54 for my brothers on the West Coast here. John Rahm continues to be $10.02, and there it is. Okay, now we're starting to see a little bit of normalization. Names have passed Sam Burns. DJ has passed him, Bryson, Rory, Cantlay, JT, and there it is. Xander now $7.25, so he is getting a little bit of a boost here. The 2 youngsters, Morikawa and Hovland, hanging in the mid-5s. Morikawa has, again, again, there's been reports this week. The back is fine. He is not dealing with any lingering back injuries. The game just hasn't been sharp. And then Victor Hovland, who still continues to ball strike the absolute hell out of it, Joe, but kind of regressing back to my chipping sucks version of Victor Hovland, and the putter's not saving him. So what do we do with these guys?
I love Morikawa this week. I think that he's at a great buy low spot, maybe the cheapest that you'll ever see him if he finishes in that low sevens in a 30-man field where we know he plays well at no-cut events. He's not only a contender for the FedEx Cup this week, he's a contender for Player of the Year if he plays really well. And you mentioned the back issues, which are obviously what's sort of holding the price point back here. But he's also the number one pre-ranked player in the field. So for me, like, you get that sort of upside where he's going to break any ties in terms of raw scoring numbers. And it just feels like he's been one of the top, I would say, 3 players on the PGA Tour all season long, and you're catching him at a pretty good discount, basically halfway down the IPO price market.
Yeah, at this current $5.66, that's the cheapest Colin Morikawa has ever been. The lowest, $5.78 at it's got to be the November Masters, and he hasn't sniffed anything like that in quite some time. So I am going to give this a refresh because we're now very close to this. This is the final minute, maybe 2 of the IPO phase. This is normally where I take us home here, and Joe, I let you do your thing, but we're going to do this. We're going to do this together because this IPO is closing momentarily. Okay, we're in it now. We're in that window, that 90-second window. The chat's going to have to let us know when this IPO closes. And Jon Rahm is $10.21, Joe. That's asking him to finish 7th or better in a 30-man field with no starting strokes. How low is this price on Jon Rahm?
I'm so surprised at this right now, Rick. I can't believe he's not higher and hasn't broken through the $12 mark. I think it's coming, but at this point, I'm a little bit worried. Look, 7th or higher, he's also finished, he's basically the favorite to win this event with the starting strokes. So you factor in that sort of upside there. You factor in the number 2 pre-ranked player. You factor in how well he's been playing. I think that he deserves to probably be in that $12 to $13 mark, maybe more this week. The upside is clearly there. I'd be a buyer right now in the low 10s for sure.
$7.25 for Xander Schauffele, $7.15 for Justin Thomas, and the 3 other golfers in the $7 range are Patrick Cantlay, Dustin Johnson, Rory McIlroy. If you could only pick one of those, let's call it 4, because Xander's kind of the king. JT, DJ, Rory, or Cantlay, who are you investing in?
Cantlay. I like the upside there. Played so well last week. Confidence is at an all-time high, and he starts with a 2-stroke lead, so that 5-point bonus, I think, could be huge for him.
All right, I'm going to give this a refresh here. We are seeing a little bit of movement on Mr. Jon Rahm. He's now up to $10.51. Still not as high as I was expecting him to be, although higher than he was for the Northern Trust, higher than he was for the Open Championship. He was a little bit more expensive at last week's BMW Championship. And Dustin Johnson sneaking his way into the number 2 spot of the jock market here. Joe, is that a surprise to you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I hadn't really thought much about DJ or given him a whole lot of consideration, but a better performance last week, I think, should set up nicely here. Obviously won the Tour Championship. What was that, last season? So, yeah, it's a little bit surprising. He wouldn't have been one of the ones that I had favorited this week, though.
If we go down to the bottom, just to kind of see, Patrick Reed at this moment, the cheapest golfer in the field, $3.55. I think we might have just closed here, so I can refresh this. But if Patrick Cantlay did indeed end up as the least expensive golfer, Joe, listen, I'm not super stoked, but that would be pretty shocking to me.
Yeah, there's so many concerns around it, but like you said, at $3, he's basically got to finish 20th or better in a 30-man field, and we are talking Patrick Reed. I'm not going to put anything past him.
Yeah, for sure. And we are closed right now. So this IPO phase is indeed closed. We are going to let the dust settle here and make sure that I have all the updated numbers and we can talk through all that. In the meantime, I'm happy to give away more money. So this one goes out to, let me just find the comment. B. Henson B1, congratulations. We'll get that money over into your account as soon as possible. And I've got one more $20 giveaway that is yours. If you just go in and drop your Jock Market username in the chat, don't be afraid, drop it in there, go for it. And if you have not used the deposit code POWER yet, you certainly should be. One more refresh here, and then I'll bring up the big board, Joe, and we can talk through what the heck happened. So here we go. Jon Rahm, $10.52. That is cheaper than he was at the BMW Championship. It is asking him to finish 6th or better. Jon Rahm has barely finished worse than 6th in the last million full field events that he has played, sir. This feels like a pretty good price.
Yeah, it feels like a good price. I'm kicking myself for the internet issues, but I'll be in there. No worries when this thing closes, placing some bids. But yeah, I love that price on Rahm. There is a big gap there, which is the one thing, it's tough to jump to 1052 when you see the second best guy $3 lower, which is what I'm showing right here, which is Xander Schauffele. But yeah, I think he's worth every penny of that.
John in the chat, not so much, says shorting Rahm ASAP. Well, John, you have that option now. You have that option. You can certainly try to short Jon Rahm right now because we're in live trading, Joe. So I'm assuming it's open, it's up, it's running. Shorting starts right now, which is kind of cool. $7 range. Lots of names here. Schauffele leads the way at 750. DJ, JT, Rory, and Cantlay. So just that kind of $7.50 mark. That's 11th place or 10th place. So yeah, you know what? As much as I liked the Rahm, it would have been hard to pass up these guys to finish inside the top third of the field.
Right. I think so. And even Bryson right below there at 672, I would have been a big buyer on. But Bryson and Cantlay, I hate to keep going back to it, but the 5 additional points could be huge. It's what made the difference last year for Dustin Johnson, excuse me. So we have some experience in dealing with this, and we know what it can do and vault you to that $25 payout, which is obviously the biggest jump on the board. So that's important. I like those price points on both of those guys. I still think Xander is a great value there when you put in perspective the distance between him and Rahm as well.
Sam Burns got out to a really hot start in the jock market. He was immediately bid up to $6.54, basically didn't move. Now, that is still the most expensive that he has been since the AT&T Byron Nelson, which was the start after he won. So a little bit of an upward trend on sentiment on Sam Burns.
Yeah, I agree. I think I like Burns. I just think he's a little bit overpriced here. Like when I can pay up an extra 2 cents to go to Tony Finau, who starts basically, 2 strokes off the lead, I'm going to go there. When I can go up an extra 30 cents to go to Bryson, I just feel like where he's priced at, given who's right around him, he's a little bit overvalued.
Did we completely whiff on Jordan Spieth?
I was looking at it. What's he doing down there?
I have no idea. $5.54. He is the same price as Hideki Matsuyama. He's cheaper than Harris English. At $5.54, you are asking him to finish about 14th or better. So top 50% of the field. I know it hasn't been great for 2 weeks, but we might have whiffed on this.
I know he hasn't been great either, but when I go down this board and sort by IPO price, he's the 21st guy on the list. He deserves to be higher than that. He deserves probably to be within that top 10, I believe. Doesn't have a great track record here at East Lake, but he's just so good, and he's had a great year, all things considered, even though the last 2 weeks haven't been fantastic. I really do feel like he's undervalued. They have a fair value projection here of 717, which I think he's going to be probably the biggest gap that you'll see on the board between what the actual IPO price is and what the fair value is listed at.
Yeah, Austin in the chat says he hammered Spieth, which at this point, that looks pretty good. A lot of questions about shorting for those who came in late. I'm going to drop the URL in the chat right now, which you guys should be able to see, and I can add it to the description as well. But essentially, there's a really good how-to on Jock Market's website that essentially describes, one, what shorting is. There's a really good example with Jordan Spieth, essentially, Joe. And this is when I tell people, like, what is Jock Market and why should you play Jock Market? It's the only place in the world where the golfer only has to beat their expectation. And now now we've flipped it on its head, right? Where now you can say, okay, well, now I think he's going to go below the expectation. And I can say, I think this golfer's going in the opposite direction, might be leading after 2 rounds. No. I don't think he's going to be able to close it out. This is easily the biggest update that Jock Market has made in the last year because it directly impacts gameplay. It directly impacts liquidity. It directly impacts players because you don't have to have shares of golfers to short them. This is without me exaggerating, the biggest update that they've put out in the last year.
Absolutely. And it's going to make Sundays so much more fun, I feel like. While we have so much fun on Wednesday nights and sort of Thursdays, it's going to really add another element, I think, to Sunday afternoons. Like, for example, if you have a guy that's $20, the bid price is $20 because he's in the top 2 coming down the back 9 on Sunday. In order to get a short stake on that, you only need to get in $5, right? Because it starts at 25. So you can you don't have to buy up that really high number and spend $16, $17, $18 a share. You can go the opposite end of it, predict him to go down the leaderboard a bit and only spend that normal $5, $6, $7 a range that we're used to. Like you said, you nailed it. It's going to increase liquidity. It's going to increase volume. It's going to increase the fun. We've been waiting for a while. So I'm super excited that they were able to roll it out for this week.
I have to do 2 more things before we get out of here. I've got to give away the final $20, which is going to go to, I have the comment here. Where is it? The Do at The Do. Congratulations. We'll get you set up for that. That's all the Jock Bucks we've got to give away. But Joe, I made the people a little offer while you were gone. I was trying to spice up the chat and I said, I'll give away a week subscription to RickRunGood.com for the closest without going over price of John Rahm. Okay. So he sold for, let's see what it is. He sold for $10.52. So closest without going over, not Mojo King. That was 11. Uh-oh. If everyone's over, where's my $1? Where's my $1 bid? Everyone's over. Oh, what do I do now?
Everyone's over. I guess you go to the closest one, right?
I'll be nice. Okay, here we go. There's this one here. Justin has, no, here it is. Sean says 1108. Shane says 1108. That's got to be the lowest that I see in the chat.
Yeah, everyone was with me, man. We thought that Rahm price was going to break some records tonight, which it didn't.
I cannot believe nobody pulled the $1 trick. Isn't that the Price is Right trick, right?
That's the Price is Right go-to, man. You always got to bid it.
You hit him with $1. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Shane, congrats. I'll give it to you, brother, but you got to reach out to me. You got to send me an email or tweet me or something, so that I know how to get a hold of you, and I'll hook you up with a little bit of a Rick Run Good sub. The Mojo King says we would not win the Price is Right. That is exactly right. Joe, absolute pleasure, brother. This season in the books, but listen, we are looking to keep it rolling next week. I don't know if we've got a commitment on this, but we're looking to do something for next week that I think is going to be very valuable. And then we are right back at it with the new season in Napa in 2 weeks.
Yes. This has been so much fun, man. I'm so happy, and honored to be able to do it with you, and Jock Market is awesome. So to kind of take this ride with them, I appreciate all your guys' support. I apologize again for the technical difficulties tonight, but it was a ton of fun all year long. It just keeps getting better with all the new advancements that they've been making. So I'm looking forward to what's to come, and let's kick off the next season, right?
At Tour Picks is where you can find Joe on Twitter. You can find me at Rick Run Good. We'll be back very, very soon, probably next week. Good luck. Start shorting your golfers. Goodbye.